better orientation. I apologize for that.
Are here to tell them. This mess is a living nightmare for so many Mississippians, and it is way past time that our GOP officials feel extremely uncomfortable over their complicity in this mess. It is our job. It's your job. It's your job. It's your job. Shout out to Oprah. It's my job. It's all of our jobs to make them feel uncomfortable so that they finally take action. Indeed, this job is ours to do. It may well be the only way out of this mess. So keep writing letters, keep writing emails, keep calling their offices, keep showing up at their offices, keep showing up at rallies, keep speaking out. Tell your own stories about what this mess means for you personally and your family. And please share the stories of these brave souls who are about to speak to us today. Our first speaker I want to introduce is David Wood. He's a migrant workers advocate and a Spanish professor. He's speaking today solely on his own and not on behalf of his employer. With all the terrifying issues facing the immigrant community in this country right now, it's great to know that the migrant community has someone like Dr. Wood advocating for them and helping encourage us to assist that community as well. Professor Wood.
ACAB. All cops are bastards.
Good morning, good afternoon, and happy Mayday.
It's meant to look like the ACDC logo.
I have a short but important message today. My name is David Wood. I'm a professor of Spanish language and literature. I'm sharing my own views and not those of my employer. I am here as a concerned citizen and migrant worker advocate. Because of my ability to speak Spanish, I've been able to help many Hispanic immigrants over the last several years. Okay. My name is David Wood. I'm a professor of Spanish language and literature. And because of my ability to speak Spanish over the last several years, I've been able to help and come to know many migrant workers. I know them to be honest, hardworking people, and I'm sickened by the way the extreme right and its media outlets, led by the current U.S. president, maligns and illegally imprisons immigrants, undocumented and documented alike. Anyone paranoid about a globalizing and multiracial society needs to place their fears on someone else besides migrant workers who turn the gears of this oligarchic capitalistic machine. The history of labor, the history of labor in the United States is the history of migrant labor. Without immigrant labor, this country would not have been built, would not have been modernized, would not have been advanced in the way that it did. Yet this current administration demonizes the very people who make daily contributions to the success of this economy. This demonization must stop now. Let me share with you 4 lies and then 4 truths regarding immigrant labor. First, undocumented and documented workers take jobs away from American workers. No, correct. If this were true, then there would be no jobs for immigrant workers in the first place. The reality is that migrant laborers do jobs that U.S. employers need, whether it's a small local business like a roofing or landscaping company or a large food processing plant. From the Silicon Valley to the Mississippi Delta, immigrant laborers do many jobs that are vital to the U.S. economy and which U.S. citizens could also do. But they don't. On August 7th, 2019, ICE rounded up 680 people at 7 chicken processing plants in Mississippi. Neighboring processing facilities that weren't part of the raid were still having trouble getting enough employees to come to work. Does this make any sense?
No.
Untruth number 2. Immigrant labor depresses wages. The reality is that capitalists depress wages, not migrant workers.
Thank you.
Anywhere in the world, a capitalist seeks to hire the cheapest and most efficient form of labor. Migrant workers might be willing to work for less money, but at the same time, they add value to the businesses and companies they work for. Rarely is the argument addressed by critics who claim that rarely is this argument addressed by those who claim that migrants depress wages. In reality, their labor increases the value for those whom they work for. Number 3, I have never known a single immigrant who comes to this country and says, I came to America to be poor. I came to America to choose a life of crime. Between 2012 and 2018, people who entered this country illegally were arrested less than half as often as U.S.-born citizens for violent drug, property, and traffic crimes.
Yep.
The National Institute of Justice found that people who entered the country without permission had the lowest offending rates for felonies and violent felonies. Immigrant workers are not criminals. But the extreme right and even moderate Republicans will argue that we need to apply the rule of law when discussing this issue. Now let's think about this. They want to apply the rule of law, and yes, while it is true that there are thousands of undocumented workers who come here without proper documentation, at the same time, I'm completely stunned by the delusional hypocrisy on the right when they invoke the rule of law. Is the rule of law applied when ICE agents lawlessly arrest documented legal immigrants like Kilmar Abreva Garcia?
Nope.
Rumesa Oster?
Nope.
Mahmoud Khalil?
Nope.
When DOJ has no legal authority to eliminate thousands of federal worker jobs? When the president ignores the rulings of judges?
No.
When he falsely claims that the U.S. is the only country with birthright citizenship? Rule of law? There are many more examples of how this administration evades the law and lies for their own political gain. My last point, the last untruth. Immigrant workers cost the government money. Again, not true. The state auditor of Mississippi claims that the state pays more than $100 million each year because of illegal immigration. The auditor has claimed that the illegal immigration problem is spiraling out of control and is costing taxpayers millions. This is practically worthless analysis, according to the Cato Institute, because it does not take into account thousands of dollars, millions of dollars that migrant laborers pay through sales taxes and income taxes. Remember, they come to work. They come not to commit crimes, they come to work. Undocumented workers cannot receive state or federal assistance programs because they're not documented, even though they pay income and sales taxes. So, let us stand today together as a single voice of all workers, documented, undocumented, foreign or native born. Let's organize ourselves to improve the wages and working conditions for all workers, but in particular those who are unwelcome but so badly needed. Working together in creative, well-informed, and honest ways with employers, elected officials, state agencies, educators, labor advocates, and others can bring the change that we desire. Thank you very much.
That was
and
good.
staff.
Great speech, sir.
She's a native of Houston, Mississippi, the mother of two, a 20-plus year second grade teacher. Just that part alone, around of applause, second graders. Whew. And she's former president of her association, a post she served in for 4 years. She'll be talking to us about the teacher shortage and the need for all of us to get behind one of the state's most essential occupations. Please give a warm welcome to Erica Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Erica Jones, a second grade teacher currently working with the Mississippi Association of Educators. And I stand with you today, urging you with your support for public education here in the great state of Mississippi. As you all know, our students across Mississippi depend on us. Just recently, we've learned of the current legislators wanting to do away with the U.S. Department of Education.
Boo!
How that impact our students here in Mississippi. Mississippi is one of the states that really depend on the federal funds that we receive from the federal government. We must have those funds to operate. I want you to think about the teachers in your community, the educators in your community. How many times they have to dig in their own pockets to pay for supplies? It
right.
shouldn't be this way. We need your support. I also want to mention that we must continue to rally and support our public schools. Remember, our public schools provide equal opportunities for all children, not the ones that are
Yeah!
Public schools are great resources. They are equalizers. They offer a quality education regardless of the zip code. Let's think about our Madison counties, our Rankin counties, but then compare it to those communities and zip codes in the Mississippi Delta. Take a drive through our state. Not all schools are created equal, and that's why it's so important that we continue to invest our public dollars in our public schools.
Yeah!
We cannot do it without the adequate resources that we get from the federal government as well as the legislators here in this building today. We urge you all to continue to have these tough conversations with your legislators. Our students are dependent on you. Our educators are dependent on you. And we know we have what it takes to do what's best for public education here in Mississippi. Not only are we facing a huge teacher shortage because of low salaries, but think about what's going to happen now when our schools continue to lose resources that the federal government would supply for those classrooms. Think about how many educators are going to walk out of those classrooms and go work somewhere else where they're treated fairly. Is that right?
No.
We have to have support to support these public schools across Mississippi. I stand before you today as a proud advocate, as a proud second grade teacher, encouraging you all to do what's right. Support our public schools. Thank you.
Yeah!
Thank you, Erica. Now we're going to take a break from the speeches, and our fearless leader, April Rowland, down here is going to lead us in a chant before we have a couple of songs.
Not for profit, not for greed. People first is what we need.
Not for profit, not for greed. People first is what we need. Not for greed. People first is what we need. For profit, not for greed. People first is what we need. All right, quickly I'm going to introduce Jan Hillegas. She is a most familiar face here in Mississippi wherever folks come together to demand and celebrate diversity, equity, due process, respect, dignity, and inclusion, commonly known as civil rights. Jan was in Jackson in 1963 with COFO and braved some of the most hostile acts taken by the racists who were fighting to during our civil rights era. Heck, she even made it into the Sovereignty Commission files. She'll be singing for us one of her civil rights ballads, a song that kept workers encouraged and determined in the 60s, and that will do the same for us here today. Jan?
Yeah.
I'm not sure who wrote that intro. But this song is only 40 years old. Okay. With new words. And please, the next time we meet, those of you who sing other places, please let me know and come and learn the songs. And if you sing as a group, I don't know what the harmonies are. For now, let's all please work with me on this and clap. It will take all of us working together, not any few of us striving alone to make a new world fit for the people, freedom established here in that's the chorus, I'll pick it up next time. Those who we profit from our exertion want to control our thinking as well. Freedom of speech, press, vote and religion. We must protect and oppression repel. It will take all of us. It will take all of us working together, not any few of us striving alone to make a new world fit for the people, freedom established, tyranny gone. Please keep up the clapping. Chaos and lawlessness are not security. Governments by fear haunts every soul. Nation of nation, neighbor by neighbor, peace and integrity must be our goal. It will take all of us working together, not only few of us striving alone to make the new world fit for the people. Freedom is left climate and health care, water and housing, all the essentials for staying alive. Threatened by oligarchs, egos and Arabs, we must unite, for together we thrive. It will take all of us working together, having few of us striving alone to make a new world for the people, freedom established, unity on unity of goodwill, march shoulder to shoulder. What is at stake is the future of all. There must be food for every nation, justice and dignity we must install. It will take all of us working together, not any few of us striving alone to make a new
Thank you so much, Jan. Next up, we have Scott Albert Johnson, who's already played some for us and spoken to us. He's joined us once again to bring us together with his great music. If you haven't heard of Scott Albert Johnson or grooved along to his music, here's what Goldmine has to say about him. Quote, Scott Albert Johnson is a triple threat artist who can sing, write, and blow his emotions clear on out of the harmonica. There's more. Okay, I've lost the rest of your bio, but we are so glad to have Scott Albert with us here today. We appreciate his contributions so much. Y'all give it up for Scott Albert.
Sorry about that. This is a Bob Dylan song. They say everything can be replaced, yet every distance is not here. So I remember everything of every man but me. I see my light come shine from the west unto the east. Any day now, any day now, shall be revealed. They say every man needs protection. Every man must fall. Yeah, that's where I see my reflection. Someplace up high above this wall. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. In a day now, in a day now, I shall be relieved. Standing next to me, this lonely crowd, is a man who swears he's not to blame. All day long, I hear him shout so loud, crying out that he was afraid. Y'all join me if you know it. I see my light come shining from the west down to the east. shall be.
Thank y'all very much.
Yeah.
Starbucks not a problem or a concern. I never drink it anyway. But like so much. It's constantly
All right, I've somehow failed to print page 6 of my intro, so I'm gonna try to read what's on my phone and tell you about my friend Scott Crawford.
Yeah.
Dr. Scott Crawford. He needs no introduction, but I'll tell you that he's an advocate for disability rights, not only here in Jackson, but also nationally. There's hardly an event created to help people that he doesn't attend. It was his unrelenting voice that caused the city of Jackson to install crossing paths that accommodate folks in wheelchairs here. Even yes, thank you, Dr. Crawford. Even J-Tran buses are now welcoming to those with disabilities, thanks in great part to Dr. Crawford's unrelenting insistence. Thank you, Scott Crawford, for your bravery.
For the record, he's involved in pretty much every bit of activism in this city. Extensive resume for his career.
Because my voice doesn't work correctly, so I'm going to do my best to yell a little higher. Okay, how about this? You can hear me? All right. My name is Scott Crawford. I live with multiple sclerosis. As some of you know, MS is an autoimmune disease that affects women 3 times more than men. And people usually get it in their 20s and 30s. I got it when I was 33. Anyway, let me begin. The cruelty demonstrated by the current regime is hardly surprising to mental health professionals. We knew long ago that Felon 47 was incapable of empathy and only thought of his own self-aggrandizement. Sadly, that did not move many in the public who were attracted to his hateful rhetoric. We must now, once again, appeal to the better nature of our fellow citizens. Hear us when we speak in defense of Ukraine and Europe. Felon 47's recent statement that it was a, quote, concession for Vladimir Putin to not take all of Ukraine shows how he distorts reality in favor of ruthless murderers. His lack of moral character is clear for all of us to see. Switching sides in the middle of a war for European freedom itself is a betrayal of our most solemn values. Think about it. Our leader is siding with a psychopath against the heroic democracy defending itself, NATO, and the rest of Europe. This should shock the conscience of every American. Yet, where is Congress? Where are our leaders? Why are they not reining in this madman? Their spinelessness is an embarrassment. Have they no shame? How do they look at themselves in the mirror and sleep at night? We must support our NATO allies. Stand for freedom, human dignity, and international law. If our leaders will not, we we must vote them out. Hear us when we speak in defense of our government. His attack on so many of our best governmental services leave us enraged and ever more committed to resist. The list of agencies targeted is too long to recite here, and I would surely overlook many. However, I will mention just a few. Topping my list today is Disability Rights Mississippi and other congressionally funded protection and advocacy agencies around the country that defend Americans with disabilities. Today, Disability Rights Mississippi announced that its funding has been withheld and therefore is unable to take new cases. Shameful. This is a threat to the rights of 1 in 3 Mississippi adults who live with a disability. Yes, you heard me right. 1 in 3 Mississippian adults live with an access or functional need. Other worthy services that have been or are under threat of being slashed include the National Park Service. Who doesn't love the National Park Service? Head Start.
Boo-hoo.
I am a beneficiary. I'm a product of Head Start. Healthcare for the most vulnerable among us and vital to the well-being of our rural communities across the state. The Administration on Community Living, AmeriCorps, the Councils on Developmental Disabilities, the University Centers for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, the Long-Term Care Ombudsman, who protect our senior citizens in nursing homes, among others, who fight against abuse, against neglect, against financial exploitation, and against waste and disability and aging services. These funding cuts will increase abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation, while decreasing the ability of people like me and other older adults to live in their communities, be self-reliant, and return us to the days when we were seen as burdens rather than as beneficial to our society.
Boo!
For many people with disabilities and aging adults, these programs are the only thing they have to turn to when they need help. They literally save lives. They save lives. I'm here to tell this regime, we will resist. We will resist. What about their denial of due process to residents of the United States? If they can deport a brown-skinned newcomer to our country, they can surely deport to foreign concentration camps where they were exterminated. If Homeland Security Investigations, that's what they call themselves now, can invade a woman's home in Oklahoma City and force her and her 3 young daughters out in only their underwear, and after 3 in the morning, ransack their house, take their phones and all their money, they can do that to any of us.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
My baby girl lives in Oklahoma too. They could have been her.
The only difference between this and 1930s Germany is that they are targeting a different group. Nevertheless, they are attacking American citizens and legal residents. We know what's going on here, and we will not sit idly by. We are here to say, never again. Not on our watch. can disappear me, but you won't ignore the Constitution and condemn people without due process. Say it with me. Due process.
Due process! Due process! Due process! Due process!
No one is illegal. We are here to proclaim the inherent rights of all humans to justice, their day in court, hearings, and fact-finding. The question now is this: as Americans, are we willing to do our duty to hold Felon 47 and his minions accountable to the law, our Constitution? He thinks himself above it, emboldened by a sycophantic majority on the Supreme Court. The founders of our country knew that they were listening.
We gotta go so we can get the kids from school.
Well, I was going to say, the teacher, that's definitely the teacher from the school, I want to say.
Another small-minded narcissist. We are Americans. This is the home of the brave. Our ancestors shed their blood for the life we now enjoy. We're not surrendering them. Not now, not ever. We won't relent. We won't give in. They can't intimidate us because we are Americans. Say it with me.
That is her.
We
Yeah. All right, gonna wrap it up. I gotta go grab my kids from school. I'm gonna see what's going on in Hattiesburg and see about going down there too.
Who is America the home of? We're the home of the brave.